This podcast contains real stories, adult language, and occasional chaos. Some content may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised, especially if you're easily offended, overly nostalgic, or still living in a dorm.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Dorm Disordered Podcast. Before we get going, let's not forget, let's like and subscribe to these podcasts. Please, this is going to help us keep this thing going and make this strong community for all of us. I'm joined again this week by my fellow hosts.
Yo, what's cracking, everybody? Dan Glorious, 9-4.
And this week, we have a special treat for you. As you've all been asking, we have a Girard woman here to join us this episode. We have Atiyah Harmon from the class of 1998. How you doing, Atiyah?
I'm well. How are you? Happy Sunday.
And thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate this.
Yes.
Thank you for the invite.
We start off this episode and every episode with the same question. Mm-hmm. How is it that you came to Girard?
Sure. Good question. My aunt had her son there and he didn't finish, but she told my mom about it. My aunt worked close. She worked at Berean Institute, 19th and Girard. My cousin was there, like junior school. It didn't go well for him. And my mom told me about it. She was like, I think this school, I want you to take the test. We'll see if you like it. If you don't, you can leave. So I was grateful to have the option to leave. And I was like, okay.
Nice. But your family had a little bit more to do with Girard than just sending you here, correct?
Yeah, my dad was part of the desegregation walks and the freedom fighting to get us in there, right? So it wouldn't look this way if it wasn't for my dad and all the people. So always give praise for them.
Yeah, and I don't know if we actually ever talked about it, but Girard College was a segregated school. And it wasn't until, Cecil B. Moore, we live in Philadelphia, Cecil B. Moore Avenue, was a prominent attorney who took Girard College to the Supreme Court and sued for the rights of African Americans to join the school. But what that led to was eventually letting females go to the school. You had to be several things to go to Girard: a poor, white, male, orphan.
Yep.
If you didn't meet all four of those criteria, you couldn't go. So for myself and Atiyah, that is how we were able to eventually go to Girard College.
Absolutely.
Now, did you hear any stories about what happened those walks? Because I went to the renaming last year, and just sitting there and taking in those stories was it was eye-opening, but just hearing it in person and hearing the people that actually did those walks and had to deal with the police brutality and all that. Was any of those stories shared with you prior to coming or while you were at Girard?
No, not prior or while. My dad was honestly in and out of jail, like during my Girard time because of some mental health things. But when I met people after I shared the story, when I saw Miss Simmons in the hospital, who was my 10th and 11th residential advisor, house parent then, she was joined in a room by a woman who was like 93. Her daughter was like 63. And when she overheard her talk about Girard College, she was like, did you say? She was like, yeah, these are my girls. It was me and Girillis from like 2006. We were there visiting Miss Simmons, and she was like, my mom took me. We were little. We used to walk around and like march, and I just bust out crying. I was like, thank you so much. I feel like I need to say thank you to all of you. So that kind of was warming and touching for me. And I want to say maybe 2 founders ago, they had the whole exhibit in the armory, and it's so like Cecil B. Moore wasn't the first person who tried to do anything.
Right.
It was like early on. So to see that progression and to see that Dr. King had to come to the school and like the amount of pressure for, we say African American, but it was like DEI in the truest sense. Like we were the front face, but it was for everyone, right? Our class was diverse. All of our classes were diverse. And just thinking about how that like Rizzo, police, like all that. That's a whole different
Yeah.
podcast. But I tend to think about like the sacrifice and like your children and just walking and how that's not that long ago, right? That's my dad. Right. So it's like, yeah. So
yeah, a lot of people try to make civil rights seem like it was like 100 years ago. Like that was literally our parents that was a part of these marches and these walks back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, just to think about it, like I went there 14 years after the first black students came in, and when I'm there, I didn't think about it. As we start doing this podcast, I start looking at timeline. I'm like, shit, like that's not that long ago.
Exactly.
at all.
Exactly.
And it's crazy to think about it. It's crazy to think about the timeline.
I saw something, and I don't know how true it is, but that they published pictures of civil rights in black and white, so you think it's longer, like so you think it's older than it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was just like, I could see that.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't either. No, I would not either.
Well, since you did come in, your first year was in 1992, which just so happened to be the first year that the girls graduated. So you had a pretty unique experience of being never having seen a girl graduate from Girard. How did that resonate with you?
I actually didn't know any different. So I started fall in 1992. The girls graduated June 1993. So I want to always give credit to the right class. You know, we don't play like that.
Yeah.
But
My math was bad. I'm sorry.
No, your math was correct. I just want to articulate. We know we had class worse.
Yeah.
So their graduation, I realized it was something because it was all this news people hear, and I'm like, what's happening? And then that's when I was like, oh, okay, it's the first girls. That's cool. Yep. So I didn't know anything. I just knew it was like these women, almost to me, were so pretty, and they had, what are these blue blazers? And it was like, so it was so little of them, and it was just like Cavalier Day. I remember, like, I think it's Keontae Gray. Like I was on her team. She didn't know who I was. I didn't know who she was. But she was the one that was one of the co-captains of my team, and it was just like, I don't know what it's like to not see girls at Girard.
So, but there was still a lot of transition going on because when you started, you were in Banker Hall. Merchant Hall. Okay. All right. So when you started, you were in Merchant Hall.
Yep.
And the girls had finally moved into that space. But that was previously a boys' building.
Yep.
How was that for you?
Well, Merchant was different. Like with the showers and like the bed, you know, like, the showers are different. I think, especially for girls.
It all comes back to the showers.
It comes back to the showers.
I think Banker was the more eye-opening one that wasn't prepared for us. Like Merchant, we figured it out. Like we had little, like shower curtains and stuff, or we knew how to space ourselves in a way that was like we would kind of figure that part out. But Banker was like, what are these urinal things? Like, why is it showers like this? Banker was a gag. To be honest, it was like, what is this?
Those are Dan's favorite showers. He always enjoyed those so much.
And so we went to Banker 8th grade, so fall 93 or 94, a lot of us tried to use urinals as girls just to see. I forgot to mention that. Like we tried to.
I can't imagine that went well.
Yeah, how'd that
go? You know, it takes a lot of practice.
Yeah,
but it was okay. like there's a reason there's a toilet in a urinal. So.
Now, how did Merchant smell when you first walked in there?
Oh, wow.
Because Merchant was I hated that building. Like we walked in, it literally smelled like mildew. As soon as you walked in, it felt like there was water under those rugs for like years.
Interesting. I don't remember a smell in Merchant. I would say maybe Mariner Basement was just a little.
Yeah, the Mariner Basement was
because it was like that's where everyone was, and it was like athletics and teenagers with Axe and Body Splash and Lack deodorant or Girard's flavored deodorant. It was like
Seed stick.
It's a lot.
Seed stick.
I think that's one of the things that we take for granted. I was thinking about that over here. Girardians are the best packers if you ever travel we don't forget anything, because if not, we had to use that stuff. And it was like, we will have to the bobby pin by the number, and I think it's because we never wanted to ask to use that lotion and all the things.
That's where I was about to go.
Yeah.
I was about to say that I may be high yellow, but I get ashy, and that cocoa butter.
It was so runny.
It was like putting water on.
Water.
Yeah, it was ashy again a half hour later. It did not moisturize at all.
So what we did, and this is crazy that this is just a reminiscence story. So I feel like we had grease. Black girls use grease. It was blue. I can't remember the brand.
It was Ultra Sheen.
Well, if it was Ultra Sheen, we used.
Oh no! I remember.
Ultra
No, it was
Sheen.
not Ultra Sheen.
I don't think it was Blue Magic either. But
yeah, it was just some
whatever
generic blue Vaseline.
We used that on our legs, and not the lotion, and that we had shiny legs.
Because boys are not smart enough to do this, and now, like, I'm 47, I needed that.
And girls can be ashy and get teased. So
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Junior school, we just had a big tub of Eucerin.
Yeah,
It was in front, and you had to go up there and ask if you can get some.
And then Eucerin's hard to rub in. So that took forever.
Yeah, that's
And sometimes it got like really hard and it was like breaking off in pieces, and you had to like rub it to
Wait,
get
so
it.
how sanitary was that pre-COVID?
It was not sanitary at all.
It
It was like 35 of us dipping our hands in some Eucerin.
That's disgusting. But oh wow.
And it's boys, so you know everybody didn't wash their hands.
Yeah, I can. Under a microscope, you would probably throw up.
So you mentioned your aunt worked very close proximity to the school, but the Berean Institute is quite important to the women that went to Girard. Why don't you go ahead and enlighten us on what happened there for our young ladies?
Yeah, as I thought about that, I don't know if that was just my lived experience.
No, it was not. I remember that quite well. Yeah.
So when we went to get our hair done, we walked to Berean. I don't remember groups, cohorts, or whatever. But because they were training cosmetology school, they either gave us a reduced rate, whatever the partner share was. That's where Girard girls could go to get their hair done.
Right.
That was close enough to campus. It felt safe, and vanity is a thing, and you have to still look clean. We had to be. But we went to Berean to get our hair done. And my other aunt actually was one of the cosmetology students that used to do my hair.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. So Dan's aunt used to work up in a tailor. Yours used to do hair. Like I feel a little left out. Nobody did anything for Girard.
Well, you're doing this, so there you go.
I am doing this. This is something.
This is dope. Really, shout out to y'all.
Thank you. We appreciate it. So you started in Merchant, and then eventually you would move to Allen Hall. How was that transition?
I don't know, it's cool. You're on the other side of Founders. Like,
yeah.
What? That was like, ooh, we made it. Like, that was 9th grade. So it was like, we're in high school now. We're on the other side. We have to walk further. And it was a vibe to be in, because it was just Bordeaux, Allen, and then the houses and the
Moving
library.
up like George and Wheezy.
Yeah.
So you got on that other side.
I'm glad you brought that up, because you all, as in 9th grade, used to go to Allen Hall. See, the 9th grade boys had to stay in Mariner.
Yep.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about this, and not directly in our episodes, but how some of the boys would talk and mess with younger girls. But this is one of the reasons why that's the only girls you had to hang out with. Merchant and Mariner right next to each other.
Yeah.
And I'm in 9th grade.
Yeah.
I'm not walking all the way up there.
Or were you allowed to walk up there?
No, 9th grade we were allowed to walk up there, but it was just like no reason to.
Because why would we want you if we're up there with the older
Exactly.
boys?
Yeah.
So,
And we get
I
ridiculed.
feel like the courtyard was the mutual space, and I remember us talking to like boys across like the windows, or like your music. You kind of play your music outside.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I can see what you're talking about, though. But.
Yeah. So the only common space for 9th grade boys was still with 8th and 7th grade girls.
Yeah.
So, it just making a trip all the way up to Bordeaux, and I didn't live there. That just seemed like a lot.
So you had to do dinner and meet with you, and then if not, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how it was.
Not for me. So
no.
We went Banker, Mariner, Merchant, Mariner, and then I was up at Bordeaux. So the girls were not in Merchant when I was on that walk area.
We're not talking about you ancient people.
Seasoned saints.
There was no girls right across the walkway until I got to Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But
Yeah.
Island was cool the way it was designed. The older classes of girls were able to use the apartments because they were so few. So it was like they were able to like, oh, we want to stay in an apartment. Our class was too big, so we had to stay in the dorms. And you had to get back early enough to get your right spot.
Yeah.
So we're going to enlighten you on why you all got to stay in apartments.
That wasn't me. That was them. But
Yeah, the older ones. The
Yeah.
older ones got to stay in the apartments because they ran out of space.
Yep.
On the regular floor where everybody was supposed to stay.
Oh.
Yeah, so you go ahead and tell that story. You know it better than I do.
So it's class of '95. They were out of room. So a couple of the members of that class, my wife being one of them,
Go Jill.
was convinced them to finally let them do that to share the apartments. So
Oh, nice. Shout out to
yeah,
her.
yeah. So it was not going to happen because they did not want it to happen, but. I think they had
ran
nowhere
out
to
of
put
space.
anybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
they had nowhere
Yeah.
to put anybody. So
Oh, I thought that 93 and 94 just went to the apartments first. That's
No,
what I thought
no.
happened. Okay, cool.
Yep, they ran out of space.
Well, we wanted apartments. But no, that was, get there early as hell at the first day of school so you can get your right space. But
Bordeaux was efficiencies. It wasn't apartments.
yeah.
Bordeaux was the, so at Girard, you get I always, as an educator, no one's more smart than kids because your whole job is to learn how to break rules, right?
Right.
So we timed when Campbell would go to the dining room and who would come back, and that's when we would go in Bordeaux. Like, okay.
So no, go ahead and talk about that. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? When we would go into Bordeaux? Speak on this. Why was you going into Bordeaux?
Because we're in Bordeaux. We were literally just being there, sitting down. We have pictures in there too. I tried to find those. I didn't do anything, but it was pinky swear on the Sunday. It was just like, ooh, we're breaking the rules. So it was like, you used to go to Bordeaux to type, right? That was like the computer lab in the
Yeah, it was.
basement.
Yep.
But because you knew dinner, like they leave there, this one's out there. So you would just run up the windy steps to where your class was and just be in there, but just looking like,
Through the back door?
front or back, it ain't matter.
All
They
right.
was going, so it doesn't matter. But on the way
These
back,
ones are smart. These
Yes.
ones knew how to get around the
but
system.
so we would, however, pass the word down the lane, we would know kind of like you can go in the front and then go out the back because it looked like you were just like hanging on the steps.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
we
okay,
had
yep.
we had a whole secret mission.
So in our production meeting, you mentioned a few other little spots, little horrible things that the class of '98 would go to.
Horrible.
Horrible if you're an adult. It was amazing back then. Don't get it twisted. I used to do horrible things. Let's just know what they are. They were horrible.
Horrible. One could argue.
Okay, one could argue. It's just a word choice here.
Yeah.
So where are the little places that y'all go do wrong things at?
The back steps of the armory. Easy, no brainer. Founders, depending on what time of the day and night, it was like what columns or in between columns you could hug.
You do a lot more than hugging.
Some of us. And then the annex. That's what it's called, like the annex where it was like music, art, that AV part.
No,
Right.
yeah.
You could wherever you wanted to go, kind of like that was like Tetris. And probably those were like the major spots you could hug.
You could, what's the word that they used to use back then? Oh man, it used to be it's in the handbook that a word for spending time with the opposite sex. That was, oh man, so
no.
yeah. I should have
All
looked
white
this one
words,
up.
canoodling? Like, I don't know what was in there.
Canoodling should go back in the handbook.
Canoodling should go back in the handbook.
No more canoodling.
So would you consider that? I have a long-standing theory. We're all even number classes here, and I have my theory is that all the even number classes were assholes. But you kind of convinced me that y'all was not so assholey. But I mean, you bringing up some good asshole stuff here.
Just because you weren't caught doesn't mean you're not an asshole.
Asshole, yeah. Don't get it twisted. Yeah.
I like that perspective.
Yeah. So was your class really a bunch of assholes?
I think we were Leave It to Beavers.
Leave it to beavers.
Or we were like the very, hello, Mrs. So-and-so. And
To your face.
we knew how to present.
Oh, the friend.
And then, I can't remember his name, right?
Haskell was his name.
Haskell, yeah.
Or like
Haskell.
any like Ferris Bueller, right? We were those type of kids where it was like we knew what to say in front, but after that scene, we're doing the asshole thing.
So you just weren't like running down the hall smacking books out of people's hands so they were late for class, because that's what.
That's what the real asshole is.
I remember doing that. No, but we were like the.
Y'all kept your asshole on low key. Y'all kept it low.
Until we didn't.
On the DL?
Oh, okay.
Right. Until we didn't. But we were like assholes around like, don't ever let us have a sub. Like that was just
that's
the cards came out and our class made up our own way to place categories with no board games, just loose leaf paper and pencils. And seriously, thank you. We're good. We got you. Or like we were hurry up and just do the work and then like, okay. Yeah. And then just so stuff like that. Or I'm trying to think of something. Oh, collectively as a class, I think I talked about it in 8th grade. That was the crazy story about Leak. During like our transition to lunch, it's like a Pepsi delivery truck. I can't remember to say because I stole Lipton Brisk iced tea because Lipton Brisk iced tea, the original lemon, please. So the truck driver delivering like to the thing. It's an open truck of sodas and
sitting there.
What? We raided the shit out that thing. And it was like, well, however we got caught, because it was on our way to lunch. So I don't even know where we stashed it. But Leak was so pissed. I know I got detained. It was my first Friday detention. Yeah. It was a lot of us. And me not understanding how culturally inappropriate it was at that time. I like hummed, let my people go. And
see the Jewish guy.
Spazzed on me. And I was like, I don't know. Like, and it was like, oh. But yeah, that was probably our most collectively asshole thing.
That was pretty good. Did y'all do anything interesting on your, because we talked about this before, your 8th grade trip? Was it pretty?
8th grade trip?
Yeah, Gettysburg.
Yeah. Did you go to Gettysburg?
I don't remember that if we did.
Okay, they probably canceled it by then.
I don't remember. Like, we did the DC trip for senior year, and that was our class. Yeah, I don't remember.
It was probably canceled.
Somebody in the comments talked about that they went to New York.
New York, I did.
Yeah.
Was that 97 or was that 98?
I don't know.
They started switching
class
it, but that was like a high school. Whatever that trip was, I didn't go, so
okay.
I don't remember it.
That's brisk, baby.
This brisk.
Brisk,
I
baby.
had like a 6-pack. Like what?
Stealing some iced
That
tea.
kind of was worth it to have. Girard. Like, come on.
We used to take a hanger at the vending machine, unscrew the bolt in the top, slide a hanger in, a hook, and then we would grab the circle and then pull the stuff up, and the Hershey bars and everything would just come falling.
Because who was the money going to?
Yeah, I know.
Whatever vending
That's a good
machine
point.
Whatever vending
These
machine.
machines.
Yeah, but
it wasn't even like we spent money on that. That was such a good point. We spend money on the soda machines, on the snack machines. Okay, it's usually owned by somebody that leased it to put it in there, but somebody's got to be collecting that money. It wasn't the school, so who were we really robbing? We weren't robbing ourselves.
Right.
Just saying.
I'm saying that
Robin
dude probably
Hood.
drove on here
They
thinking
was
that
like
everything's
Robin
okay.
Hood,
I can
right?
leave this open. It's a boarding school, and
Please,
No.
walking to lunch. We was like, yo, just. Yeah.
So you mentioned like using like hangers and whatnot. When we finally got the Coke bottle machines. No, we had the Coke can machines, and not the Frank's machines, because them Jones had the metal cup in the front.
Frank's still some of the best soda, though.
It still was amazing, but you couldn't rob them. You could not rob a Frank's machine. But a Coke machine, the Pepsi machine, you could. You just, see, skinny. Beautiful. Take this arm, boop, pop this jaw right up in there. You just reach back. You can grab the back of the sodas and you just pop them down.
Oh, I know people that used to do that.
Pop them down.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. I'd have like 8 sodas down there. It's kind of hard to get your arm back out, but that's how we got the sodas.
I know we got other stuff to talk about, but did y'all go to the point where if we were there on a weekend, we would take all the cushions off the couches in Bordeaux, lay them on the floor, and tip the whole vending machine over so that everything just fell out. So we lifted it back up like everything was out.
I never did it. I tried not to stay on the weekends.
I didn't choose to stay on the weekends. That choice was made for me.
Yeah, I didn't get caught.
I stayed once optionally, and then the rest we stayed because of track. But I think that was a very male-centric thing to do.
Yeah.
If I'll say, I don't want to be gender words, but no.
So you did bring up a couple other things in our production meeting, how y'all used to actually cut class. Even though we went to boarding school, we would try our hardest to cut class. What were some of those other ways that you mentioned?
That same annex. The annex was a beautiful place to just hang out. Those 3 steps, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Like music, all that right there.
Mr. Bear's classroom, Mr. Kaufman,
Mr. Schultz, all those.
Home ec room.
Yep. So that was the pathway you took to go to the infirmary, right? If you had to go to the infirmary. So can I get an infirmary pass? And you would just try to get 1 or 2 or more. And when you were done, or you and your friends figured out, all right, get an infirmary pass, and then you would just be hanging out. So then if an adult came, you had your infirmary pass.
Yeah, I'm going.
And you were just like, oh yeah, all right, I'm coming or going from the infirmary. So that was always your out. But we would, who knows what we were talking about or doing, but it was like, ooh, we're cutting class at boarding school. But yeah, that's what we used to do.
So the most people grew up needing, if they went to a regular school, they needed a hall pass just to go in the hall. We still needed those, still needed a hall pass. But because we had other places we had to be on campus at times, like the infirmary, if you were sick in the middle of the day, you had to go get an infirmary pass. And that was your pass, your ticket that you could go down to the infirmary. But they always wanted those back, and you just never turned them in. Because
we had it.
Yeah,
And
but we were supposed to turn it in at the infirmary and get the time written on it.
That's why you had to be creative and make sure you did it when the nurse was turning around with the medicine, or you made it where you could change the time. Like, it's, very intentional.
No,
assholes.
yeah.
Right?
I just never turned it in.
Yeah, maybe that too. Or but you had it just in case.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. It was just like, you're like, okay.
Yeah, that was to get out of jail free card for the day.
Yeah. When you go to the dentist was always like a half a day thing. Like,
Because
there's
it was
no
like
way.
the lines and all that.
Yeah.
Even when I was done there, I wasn't done.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, now I'm gonna just hang out
A lot
because
of people, you just hang out talking to Dr. Moody because he was funny as hell.
And his assistant.
His assistant. Good times. That was the best part of going to dentist.
Yep.
Hey, we didn't have,
I got x-ray your teeth. Good.
Yeah.
Let's go.
shout out to the assistant. I don't know this one, so shout out to the assistant.
So you're talking about, let's actually twist this a little bit. Lunchtime. Girls had, I would say, like, y'all had a thing. Y'all had specific things that was quite different from boys.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about girl lunchtime?
I'll say for the lion's share, because we always had our people who couldn't jump or did other things. They were too cool, or they were meeting with their booze or whatever. But we jumped rope, like, every day.
Every
So
day.
as soon as you could go outside, like after you cleared your tray, we was jumping. Like, we had already planned who was going to be on ends. Like, all of this was already taking place at the table. So when we had that time, it was go. And then we jumped rope. Like, that's how we probably all were in very good shape. And then when it rained, we would go underneath. Like, you can go down the dining room, those like 3 black steps.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
There was like that little bit of space. It was harder to do it there, but we would still jump rope. So when it was like raining, like, can't go outside.
Yeah,
Can we go
wasn't
out
a lot of room down there, though.
but we would make it work.
But did you guys like have like competition between classes? How'd that go?
We should have. But I think it was more just like
Individually?
and then based on who ate in what dining room. So it might have
That's
just
true, yes,
so that was
yes.
by class anyway,
Yeah.
typically. And like I said, it might not even have been all of us, but it was a strong cohort of girls who always jumped rope.
It was about a good 80 to 90% of y'all. Like,
Because if you weren't jumping, you were around there watching people jump.
Yeah.
And I can't ever remember a class word. That's something I think we could probably bring it to like a founders. That would be fun. But our class was the best jumpers.
somebody was jumping rope last Founders Day.
Yeah, fully girls jump. No, I'm saying, but like as a class war, something.
Okay.
That would be fun.
I don't know. Maybe 98 needs to drop the gauntlet
I mean,
down.
because we would be MVP because we were.
Ooh.
Yeah, we talk shit. So that's where we're at. So shit like that. As a sesquicentennial class.
All right. So, but one lunch, you participated on something that I also participated in 1995. Instead of going outside, you all ran to the auditorium. Why'd you run to the auditorium?
OJ verdict. OJ verdict. Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Go ahead, tell us some of your memories on that, because I think Dan was already gone by this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was that Temple?
Yeah,
Can
that
I-
was my senior year.
Yeah. I want to add 2 things to that. But yeah, so whatever we were at lunch. I just remember anybody that had classes in the high school building was in the auditorium for the
Yes.
verdict. And it was just like a thing. We were like waiting. And I think, like, once we got the verdict, I don't even remember our response, to be honest.
Oh, I do.
I just remember us going to watch it. But something that I was talking about to someone else, Waco was my 7th grade year. We watched Waco until I'm a documentary person. Until I watched it as an adult, I didn't realize that's what I was watching in 7th grade. Like,
Right.
That shit was crazy to watch.
Right.
But yeah, I just remember we probably cheered. I'm assuming we did.
Oh yeah.
I think it was a whole right, but it's like I remember it was like that was the thing to do. Like, come on, we gotta go watch the verdict. Like that was what we were doing.
Yeah, that was a quick lunch every day. Because the verdict was supposed to be at noon. Lunch started at like 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
So, and mind you, you got to get in line and get your plate, and each person.
We ain't want that much that day.
We was moving quickly. That moved quickly.
Yes.
And I remember being one of the first people up in the high school, and it was still like a bunch of people already there. Like, oh, I thought I was early.
Right.
Nah, people was ready because they put that on the projector in the auditorium.
Yeah, that was a wild thing to. I mean, it's a collective lived experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So most folks will see like scenes from New York City where people are seeing the OJ verdict being played in
Times Square.
Times Square, yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. Yeah, that makes sense though.
Oh, you got to go back and watch it. It's wild.
Okay.
You're going to see a sea of angry white people and a sea of cheering black people. Because this is a very myopic thing. Like, we looked at the OJ verdict as a literal
Race war.
yeah. Basically, yeah.
One of the first. One of the. Yeah.
It was just enough for us at the time, and we all know OJ did it. But at the time,
But if he did do it, because people are saying that it was the son. Just saying.
oh, I read his book. Oh, he did it.
So he told on himself.
Yeah, he totally told on himself. Yeah, he totally
Himself,
did it.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
After the Rodney King and all that stuff that went through, like that was very closely watched. It was very closely watched, and that's where it became like, because that shit was disgusting too. I don't want to get into that, but that was that was a rough video to watch.
Yeah, we watched a black man
see
get
people
beaten
get off
on camera, and the people that did it be acquitted.
and made him say, "Can't we all just get along?"
Right. After the fact, but yeah,
It's wild shit. It is.
Yeah.
It's wild shit.
But then we see OJ get accused of murder and was already ready to be judged guilty before he ever had a moment in court.
Yeah.
So I think for us growing up at that time, we wanted everything to be better. We had white friends. We are friends.
That's
you
what
know?
I was going to ask a follow-up question to you, Dan.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say 2 things. One, we just said 2 things: Rodney King and OJ. These babies, Trayvon Martin, Tyre Rice, Michael Brown, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Like, there's just and then you know how quick things go, right? But their mental health is a way different experience.
Exactly.
But your experience at Girard, and I'm assuming like your the qualifications for Girard, did you think did that make you not realize you had privilege, or realize like how did that shape some kind of way you think about the world as like a white man?
So I grew up and I have a ton of empathy. So I never looked at myself in that way. But yes, I did understand. There were advantages I had that I didn't ask for. I just had. So did I recognize it? Yes. Clearly. When I was at Girard, did I feel any different than anybody else? No. When I was in third grade, one of my best friends was putting a wave cap on me at the end of the day. Like,
As you should.
I had no business wearing a wave cap, but that's how I grew up. That's the culture I grew up in, and that's where I felt most comfortable. I can tell you, me and Joe talk about this all the time, and I don't know how this is going to go on a podcast, but if I'm in a room full of white people, I don't feel as comfortable as a white person should, and it's just because it's not how I grew up.
Right.
I grew up in diverse, and even my neighborhood. My neighborhood was Latino or Latina. It was there was Asian Americans. It was it was just a broad spectrum of different cultures, and that's how I grew up. So yeah, so there's times where I get a little uncomfortable if I'm just looking around. Like, I think what's going on there. So I don't know if that sheds some light onto it. But.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think that part of I always talk about the juxtaposition of being a Girard and wherever neighborhood you were from, because you had this private school experience and you went home, well, a lot of us, on the weekends, and how that meant for how you interact with your family, your peers, your friends. I think that's why like Founders Day is so important to us.
Yeah.
And those kind of things, because you were still like, yes, I'm being afforded this great education. It's fun. I'm having a good time. But then like, oh, but you're not learning this way, or
Right.
you know, it was always like this other thing that I always talked about, like how we had to kind of play two different identities, not play, but you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Well, on that note, we're going to end this and call that the end of part 1 of this episode with Atiyah Harmon. Please come back with us next week. We're going to have part 2 where we get into things like Black girls love math. All right. For Dan and I, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
I stole Lipton Brisk iced tea.